pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. It is 8:30, Tuesday, March 30th. This is the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting at the Mitchell County Courthouse. And we have an agenda in front of us, and our only correction that we have put on here is that at 9 o'clock, the taxable hearing, the taxable bond agreement will be discussed. Is that what you wanted me to say, Rachel?
Yep, so 8 and 9 will go in place of 6 and 7, and 6 and 7 will move to 8 and 9.
There we go. Thank you. Is there any other changes to the agenda? If none, do we have any motions to approve?
So moved.
Jim's made a motion.
Oh, sorry, I was going to write that chair.
Mike the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Hearing none, approved. Approve the minutes of the March 23rd meeting. I looked through it. I didn't catch anything out of line. Did anybody see anything different? Is there any additions or corrections? If not, do we have any motions to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the 23rd meeting.
Mark has made a motion. Todd has seconded. This will be a roll call. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Todd.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mike. Aye. Smolik, aye. So the minutes for March 23rd have been approved. County Attorney, general discussion. Are you out there?
Yes, I am.
Have anything interesting for us today?
I don't have any interesting. I think I've had conversations with just about every supervisor over the past week, so if anybody has any more questions, they can ask me.
We've been dealing with the conservation pickup for the last 2 meetings, and I heard the other day that it has been resolved, or the conservation has made a decision. I just wondered, was your office a part of that? Did you tell them what had happened, or just for the public's interest, I guess they need to know that there's been some closure and just what happened?
Correct me if I'm wrong here, and I think I'm right. Steve came over to my office on Wednesday, and we had a discussion about it, and then I had a discussion with Adam, and suggested to Adam maybe just to resolve this issue for now so we could move on to more important things, that it would be best if he didn't drive it until the parks opened up. Then Adam had a conversation with Steve, and I think things are worked out as far as I know. I haven't heard anything about it since Thursday morning when I last talked to Adam, and I think he said that he and Steve talked and it was resolved.
Yes. Yeah, we got together, and Adam and I both thought that it was in our best interest to resolve this and keep the paper from stirring it up, keep it between ourselves. So we have come to a resolution that we're both amicable with, and we can move forward.
Okay, that's what I wondered. I just want the public to know that that issue just didn't just die, that it's been resolved, so.
No, I normally say, if both parties can say when they walk away from the meeting, you know, I'm not exactly happy with it, but I can at least live with it. And I think that's where both parties are, aren't they, Steve? Either party got exactly what they wanted. Both parties gave up a little bit. They both reached a compromise, and I think everybody's saying, let's move on. Let's put this behind us.
Yep. We both come to a neutral spot, so we can go on without any more issue.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions on anything?
I guess that's it, Mark, thank you.
Okay.
Approve sheriff's report for February, so I'll let sheriff have the floor.
Yep, morning board members, morning Rachel. I have February fees for you in the amount of $5,881.88. Okay. And so, really, that's all I have for you, unless you folks have questions.
Okay. Well, I don't see any issues here. Do we have any motions to approve?
I'll move to approve that.
Jim has made a motion, I think Todd has made a second.
I'll second.
Roll call. Those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Steve? Aye. So, this has been approved.
Okay, the only other thing, maybe you're already aware of it, and Rich might address it to you, but there'll be another marathon on the eastern side of the county, May 1st.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know about that one.
I want to talk with you about that.
Yeah, so we've worked with them in the past as far as traffic at some intersections. There's no road closures that they're asking for, but they'll be out on the county roads. It's a Minnesota Iowa Marathon, but I think it originates in Riceville, doesn't it?
I think Leroy, and then it uses the bike, mostly the bike trail in Iowa, so, or Mitchell County, so it's just road crossings when the bike trails cross. I made them aware of the bridge project we may have going on, but that's a mile west and probably shouldn't affect anything there, but.
Typically what I try to do is have reserve guys come out, it's on a Saturday, and man the intersections for us, make sure that everybody gets across safe, or if they have any issues, we can help them out. So just a heads up on that, that's coming May 1st.
That's what I wondered, if you had a full-time deputy on doing this, or if it was reserves doing this.
Yeah, I try to have the reserves do it, and the full-time can help unless they're busy with other
That's,
calls.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
And that's how we put it to the organizers. We'll be there when you want us unless they're on an emergency or get called away. So I try to have part-time guys out just dedicated to the event.
Their email did have the word request in it, but their email also was kind of insinuating that you will be there. I think that's how I read it, and I
Yeah.
didn't really care for that, but.
Yeah, don't read anything into it. They know, and we've worked with them.
It's went well in the past?
Everything's good.
Good, okay.
Yep, they know that, we just don't have, may not have somebody there,
Okay.
but we do our best.
Very good.
And it's worked out in the past, so probably have some part-time guys out that morning and they'll handle it for us.
Perfect.
Yep. And we'll find out more middle of April, I think, and an additional email on the amount of runners, and we'll keep you updated on that stuff too.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
all right.
Thank you.
I just happened to be out by New Haven this weekend. Has any of your men said anything about Kephardt's area? Just driving by. It looks like he's very little, but I go out there quite, it looks like he's taken stuff away. And I know
Nobody has
it's
said
coming.
anything, Todd, and I'll
Okay.
drive out there and check on it.
It- I mean,
I didn't see much progress when I was by there the last time. I can't tell you when that was, but it never changes much. I mean, one pile might go here and then it goes over here.
yeah, if you go, because he was there, and it looked like he was, I didn't want to, there's that southwest corner next to the house to the west. It looks like he's taken a bunch of stuff away from there. Now, where, but it's still full, don't get me wrong. But
And I think what we'll do as the deadline gets closer, and Mark was gonna check on it, and I will too, is we'll put the drone up, we'll fly it, compared to our photos that we had, that we used, fly the criminal charge, see if we can see any difference. Better or worse.
he had a trailer hooked up to a pickup, and I'm like, whoa. It does look like there's some gone, but, I mean, maybe it's too late anyway. Because I got thinking, is that like the 8th or 6th or 8th coming up of April?
I would have to look.
So, yeah,
It's
anyway,
coming up.
that's kind of what I observed. It looked like he's kind of clear for people.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good news if you did. I don't know if you'll quite get across the finish line.
Yeah.
not a deadline, but we'll see, right? And then it'll be up to you guys on what we do from there,
Okay.
so. All right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you guys.
Any other questions for the sheriff? All right, thank you.
You bet.
I'm just gonna jump in. That hearing is April 16th at 9:30. So 2.5 weeks from now. The problem becomes, if nothing is cleaned up, and I don't anticipate it's going to, what's the county gonna do about it? Does the county wanna spend another 20,000 or what do they wanna do?
What happens if we
I mean,
spend
you
it?
don't have to answer now, it's just something you wanna be thinking about.
Well, I guess my thought was that maybe we were going to incarcerate him. That was a suggestion at the time when we discussed this, is that maybe a little time in the county jail
I
may.
doubt if the judge, I doubt if the judge is gonna throw him in jail, the judge is probably gonna fine him. Simply because on a first offense like this, they seldom throw him in, but we've got a bunch of other charges pending that have never been heard that we could go back to trial again then and request jail time. But I don't think that's gonna change anything.
Mark, what's it take to make it so that it doesn't ever happen again? Not as far as,
It's impossible.
as far as the mess.
It's impossible, I don't think.
It's impossible. That's the problem.
Are his taxes paid, are his taxes paid up?
No.
Well, then,
We also the problem is, once it goes to tax sale, then they've got another year and 9 months. Well, what happened because of COVID last year, all the tax sales got canceled. So that won't go to tax sale until June of this year, and then he's got another 1 year, it's either 1 year and 7 months or 1 year and 9 months after it goes to tax sale, before you can do anything. You're talking the first part of 2023.
So what is our recourse then? What are we striving for? I thought we had an end on this coming where we would be able to acquire this property.
Well, in June, it will go to tax sale.
That's our recourse,
If no-
okay.
If nobody buys it, then the county gets the certificate. Then they have to wait a year and 7 months or a year and 9 months before you can take possession of the property.
And then he can be on that property until that time?
Yes.
well, if that's the only way to do it, I mean, there has to be a start time sometime for that process. I mean, I know we're not making decisions now, but we also just can't not do anything forever either.
And that's the question, does the county want to keep spending $20,000 every year to clean it up just so it gets filled up again?
No?
No, it's full enough, you can't get much more in there. I guess we're just gonna have to live with it for another year and 9 months. And then go from there. That's our only recourse.
What if the guy put a fence up around it where you couldn't see it? Is that a solution or not?
No, because what happened was when they did the new zoning ordinance, anybody that had a junkyard in a where you weren't considered zoned to have a junkyard,
Okay.
had so many, I think a couple of years, whatever, to get in compliance by putting up the proper fencing, and then they would be grandfathered in, that they could keep their junkyards. Well, he did not comply with the zoning ordinance requirements of putting up the fence and things, so he lost his pre-existing status, so he cannot have a junkyard.
Okay, thank you. I just wondered.
Yep, yep.
Okay, well, we now know that the future is 2 years out there, basically. Okay, thank you, Mark. Moving on, county engineer update.
Morning.
Rich, do you have anything to discuss
Yes.
before we go to the paving project?
Yeah, I guess we can go to that stuff first if you'd like. I got notification last week that, I'm probably gonna have to update the Title VI information for the county. It's something the DOT required several years ago, and I reluctantly had been named the coordinator for the county, which I don't know if that's kind of a ridiculous thing or not. It's a Title VI, which is it's an equal opportunity kind of thing for if the county receives federal funds, then we have to be compliant with Title VI. That goes from ADA to equal opportunity employment, things like that. We've been pretty quiet. I haven't received any complaints. It's kind of a quiet situation. But anyway, we've got an audit coming up. I just got notified, and then we've got about 2 weeks to prepare for the audit. I don't know what it's like to be audited. We've never been audited before. So I'm going to work with Rachel a little bit on getting some information they'd like to have before the audit comes in. So just another thing we've got to deal with. We've got a larger, I guess, in the rural area, kind of around Mitchell and north of Osage, northwest of Osage, Mitchell area. OMU wants to be putting some fiber in, so there's a big fiber project coming up. I'll approve some of the permits here soon, after I look at the plans a little bit. They're going to be expanding fiber out in that area, so kind of a big project for them coming up too. And then that's about it. The guys we repaired some of our floor drain in the shop there, and last week, and we're taking some equipment off and out blading, so they're on blading again today, taking equipment off, doing some repairs. So that's where we're at in secondary roads. You guys have any questions, anything?
We had a rainy week last week, so I just want to make sure they're up late
Yep.
yesterday all day,
Yep.
today, and so
Yep.
working on it.
Yep. That's what we're doing. We need to get them straightened out, and then I'm gonna meet with Paul sometime in the next week or two and discuss rock and things like that.
Maps are done.
The maps are turned in. I haven't been able to look at them yet. And that'll obviously change depending on if it crosses the road or not. But
Get that thing looked at. Pull the plug.
I'm just turning it down, I don't know how to do it. I don't understand.
Well, let's settle down now.
So we can move on to the award of projects if you'd like.
Okay. Approval of Foothill Avenue paving project.
Yep, we can talk about that if you'd like or not. We had a total of find my sheet here. We had a total of 4 bidders on that project. For last week, the engineer's estimate was $2.2 million. The project came in at 2.1. I mean, this is plus or minus, so they're pretty close. We had pretty competitive bids. Looking at the concrete paving project prices, and then I did a comparison of what maybe just a straight overlay of asphalt would have been. The asphalt would have been much higher based on the pricing. The concrete came in that good. So if we would have gone 6 inches of asphalt versus 6 inches of concrete, not doing cold in place, but just the same equivalent, or not equivalent, but the same thickness of pavement over each one, the asphalt would have been substantially higher.
Some binder prices.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and a lot of times if we do a cold in place, we're not putting down 6 inches, but if we want to look at pavement equivalencies, then we're looking at a significantly higher cost. But just an FYI, but I think we've really got some good bids on this project. They were competitive, so I'm going to recommend we award the project to Kroll for $2,178,331.04.
Okay. Do we have any motions to that effect?
I'll move to make that motion.
Todd has made a motion.
I'll second that.
Mark has made a motion. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Aye. Smolik, aye. So.
And just to be clear, we should approve this resolution so that I'm able to sign the.
This resolution has been approved and and it is resolution 1083-21.
You don't have the contractors meeting?
We haven't, no, we can't talk to contractors until we get this approved, and then I advance the project, sign the contracts, we get a bunch of stuff done, and then once we award this and I advance it in the Dock Express, then we'll get a contract, we'll find out what their schedule's like. A lot of times, depending on when the contractor thinks they're gonna do it, if the contractor thinks they're not gonna do it until, after August, they might not schedule a pre-con until midsummer or something, just depends on what they wanna do, but we'll know then, and I'll keep you guys informed on when that happens.
Okay, now you are the signer of this, I'm not gonna have to come down.
The way I have it set up is that, yeah, otherwise you're gonna have to recreate that.
When do you want me to come down and sign that?
You won't have to, I'll take care of it.
Okay,
If you wanna
that's-
pass this, then I can take care of it, you won't have to do anything, because
That's what I
it changes
wanted.
every year, yep.
Okay, so moving on, approval of the Balsam Avenue Bridge project.
So-
Rich, I'll let you have the floor again.
Worth County approved it yesterday based on the fact that I don't think we're not changing anything in the project that would ever reduce the cost. It's a continuous concrete slab bridge that's designed for that situation. Looking at the numbers, the biggest changes compared to the engineer's estimate were, a lot of it was, the removal of the bridge was, twice as high as anybody estimated it would be, and I don't know why these prices are the way, and the mobilizations were twice as high, so I mean, those two items alone account for about, I don't know, a good portion of why the project's higher than what the engineer's estimate was. And then you've got the nickel and dime things, if it was estimated at $75 per cubic yard and they came in at 80, you got those little things that fluctuate back and forth, but the major items were basically mobilization and the bridge removal itself, those costs. And so, with the way our bridge funding's setting now, we're fine. With the HBP funds, they can accept this higher cost. Not great that we do, but if we have to relet it, we gotta relet it in September, and even then we might get higher prices. I don't know that it's really worth the risk to use it, so I think we should just award the project as it is and continue to move on with it.
Any discussion? No comments?
How much more was this than expected?
Pardon me?
Or how much more is this than what you expected? Like
I think based on the engineer's estimate, it's about 26% higher.
26%?
Yeah. I mean, I can look here real quick. The removal of the bridge alone was $20,000 higher. The mobilization was $51,000 higher. I mean, those costs are numbers that a contractor just, if they've got, I think it's one of those things that they know they're getting paid those dollars and cents. They know that they're required payment. If on a bridge it's a little less technical, but on another project, if a bid item fluctuates, they're not gonna, if they do less, they get less, but they know mobilization, they know that lump sum item, those lump sum items are getting paid 100%. So, I don't know how other contractors bid it. Some contractors bid it different ways. They'll put dollars and cents into items to recoup costs or whatever, but it's hard to say. It's a crapshoot what they're gonna put out there for removals and mobilizations. And you can go look at the DOT's bid item prices, and you're not gonna find every project's different based on size, and sometimes you just put in an estimate of project cost. If it's a $1 million project, they might estimate 20% for mold or 30% for mold. Every contractor is different, you just can't tell. So,
Be interesting to see what the DOT's average prices are for this summer.
Yeah.
Everything's up.
everybody's higher. I mean, bridge prices alone are the ones that are really showing an increase, and it's crazy.
Yeah, everything's increasing, yeah.
Any further discussion on this?
And just so you know, I did contact the DOT and discuss with them whether we should award or shouldn't award, and really there's, even from their advice, it's just, they're seeing this trend and it's not gonna really, they don't think it's gonna change. So the longer we wait, I think the more expensive it could get. And like I said, their timeline, they don't have to start this till June of 2022. I don't know what they're planning, but we'll know once we get the contract signed.
Bridge project.
I'll move to approve the Balsam Avenue, project as per resolution 1084-21.
Jim's made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Mike has made a second. We'll have a roll call. Those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Smollett, aye. So we have approved this.
Thank you. We'll get that stuff, of course, to you on Express, and then I'll keep you guys informed on any updates with schedule. I think that the biggest key I think I put Hill is to really hammer home to the contractor that it's this or that. My feeling is, because of cold, they'll probably come in the fall and do it. They seem to do our stuff late in the season, but who knows? Weather could change their schedules if they're in another part of the country.
Yeah.
Midwest, so.
Like that dip at the bottom, right before the bridge on the south side, can they do anything with that?
Yeah, I think the profile of the overlay will probably eliminate that. We'll make sure that that's.
I mean, that's the only complaint I've heard on that.
Yeah, that was back when that bridge was redone, and then at the same time, I think, when Jim Hyde was here yet, they were cutting down that hill, and the way the hill was cut down, and then the way the bridge approach it was designed for the approaches to slope away from the bridge, and I think the approaches got sloped away on that side. They probably could have been tipped up a little bit and drained toward the bridge a little bit, but that didn't happen between when the county cut down the hill and everything else. So that's where that came from. But I think there's ways we can, because we're leaving those approaches in and we're gonna dig that out to approach the approaches with the pavement, we'll have a centerline profile that probably should smooth that out. We'll work with the surveyors on that when we get back, so that'll help.
Like the semi-tires come off the ground and then
Right.
that's what all the black marks are.
I just think they're overloaded when they hit.
What's that?
I think the trucks are just overloaded and then they.
Well, they are, and they're going too fast.
But anyway, no, that's something we'll work on there. We're hoping to get the dip out of there. It might still be a little bit of a G-force push, but hopefully we'll eliminate the abruptness of it.
Yep, okay.
Is there any other questions for Rich?
We haven't done anything with auction yet. That's kind of on the bottom end of my to-do list. I've got, working with Adam on the Trano Dam. We've got other projects we need to start working on too. So when we get some time, we'll get the auction thing figured out. But right now, it's not a hot burner.
Get the new excavator?
Not yet. I got to check on that. I've been asking everybody every month, so I'm going to figure that out too. Because we got to get a trailer for that too. We're going to work on getting one of the dump trucks rigged up to pull it with a pintle hitch, get some airlines pulled back so we can run it.
Good.
So, yeah, I'm going to follow up this week on that too.
Good.
Yeah, sooner the better now. The weather's getting pretty nice.
Things are starting to happen,
Yep.
or can happen.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of it can.
Okay. That's everything for Rich. We still got a few minutes here, don't we, Rachel?
A few minutes.
How about we go to number 11, discuss and possible action on voluntary annexation of the city of St. Ansgar. And that has to do with I have John Lassard, here it is, for annexation of property in St. Ansgar is a waiver. This is a piece of property that is in county right away, or is in county taxation right now. And the current owner is trying to have it annexed into the city of St. Ansgar. And
It's just north of the nursing home in St. Ansgar. There's currently, I'm not sure how many duplexes are right there. But it's just a strip of property that they want to annex in. And it's described on that third page.
that we will allow it to be annexed into the city of St. Ansgar, and that the taxation will go to the city of St. Ansgar now, correct, Rachel?
Correct.
Do I have to say names of the owners, or I don't have to? Just say that,
Okay. It's STA Properties LLC. That owns it currently. STA,
SCA Properties?
ST is in town,
Oh, ST
Properties LLC.
Properties LLC. And anyways, we need to file a resolution here, or make a motion to approve this. We, the undersigned, all the Board of Supervisors of Mitchell County, Iowa, do waive our attendance. Consultation meeting to be held on the 5th of April. Let's see that. Is that what I'm supposed to be reading, Rachel?
Yeah.
On the 5th day of April at 6:30 p.m. of that day in the council room, City Hall, 111 South Mitchell, St. Ansgar, State of Iowa, and waive all statutory requirements relating to said meeting. The board resolves by consent by supporting the application for voluntary annexation of the city of St. Ansgar. Anyways, that's what we are making the motion for. So, do we have any questions on this? Do we have any motions to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mark has made a motion.
Seconded.
Mike has seconded. All those in favor, this will be a roll call, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed state by saying nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Smollett, aye. So we have approved this waiver. Rachel, and I think we have a piece of paper we're supposed
Yep,
to sign.
bring it
But
around.
we will move on. We're gonna go back to, it is now at 9 o'clock, I believe.
Yep.
And, this is the public hearing on proposal to enter into general obligation,
Taxable. We-
taxable obligation, refunding loan agreement, and, we'll open that public hearing. Was there any oral or written comments to any of the supervisors? I had none.
I had none.
I had none.
Nope. I had none. Rachel?
None.
All right. We will close this public hearing then. And go to number 7, resolution on taking additional action on proposal to enter into the general obligation funding loan agreement,
Taxable.
taxable. Authorizing the use for preliminary official statement. Is there any discussion, further discussion on this? Any comments? Hearing none? Moving on. Do we have any motions to approve this?
I'll move to approve this.
Mike has made a motion.
I'll second that.
Mark has seconded. We will go through a roll call again. Those approving say aye. Those opposed say nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Smollett, aye. So, this has been 21. And I imagine it's too early to jump into the second one, or no?
Yeah, and I think Nate might be on the phone, he can kind of tell you maybe what's going on in the market right now. Nate, are you on the line?
I can turn on and
I see the blue is on, it's still,
Hey, someone's here?
there we go.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I can provide a brief market update here. I've been in correspondence with Rachel here over the past week and a half or so. Things are looking a little bit better now. Over the last 3 weeks, we've seen interest rates steadily marching upward, especially in the taxable market. And if you had asked me about a week ago, I might have been thinking a little bit different tune. We've seen things go quite a bit in the wrong direction, and in the last week, things have kind of come back our way a little bit. So as of right now, we are looking at total savings of about $380,000, about $345,000 on the taxable issue, and about $34,000 on the tax exempt issue. So at this point, we're hearing kind of standard market threshold for giving the green light to go ahead and do this. It looks pretty good. As of right now, we have a rating call that's going to be set up with Standard & Poor's on April 8th. They told us they can have the rate to us by April 13th. And so I would say we're probably looking at April 20, at your meeting on April 20, to have the board consider a bond purchase agreement, which is what would lock in all the interest rates and the amortization and everything. So that would be April 20th, and then we would plan to close on the bond about 30 days after that.
Can you say those numbers again as far as savings? I didn't get that exactly. What was those?
Yeah, estimating about $345,000 on the taxable issue, and about $34,000 on the tax exempt issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. That's based on Hardin County actually sold a taxable and obligation refunding bond issue in the past week, and we basically just used those exact same interest rates. So that's kind of where the market is exactly.
But the market can still go up or down between,
Yes.
yes, okay.
That's it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you,
Okay.
Nate.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Can we move it, is it 9:10 now, finally?
Yeah.
So moving on, we will go to the non-taxable this time. This is a public hearing on proposal to enter into the non-taxable general obligation refund loan agreement. And now we will open this up again. And again, any oral or written comments?
And
No.
I had none either. Rachel,
No.
we'll close this public hearing. Resolution taking additional action on proposal to enter into the non-taxable general obligation refunding loan agreement and authorization of use of preliminary official statement in connection with therewith. Now, this is resolution, what is the number of this one?
1085-21.
Okay, this is for resolution 1085-21. Do we have any motions to approve?
I'll move to approve resolution number 1085-21.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Moving forward, we will have a roll call vote. Stipulate, say aye in agreement, and a nay if you're opposed. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Smolik, aye. So we have approved resolution 1085-21. Thank you. And who, Rachel, what was his name?
His name's Nate.
Nate. Thank you, Nate, if you're still there.
And thank you, folks.
Moving on, number 10, discuss Heartland Insurance. And I will let you have the floor.
Okay. If I stand back far enough, can I take my mask
Yes,
off?
you can.
I don't know about you, but I just feel like, ugh.
Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Judy Funk, and it's my company that contracts with Heartland to provide the administration. Thank you. There's an extra one. Breathe. Anyway, so I don't want to take a whole lot of your time, but I know you've had some questions about Heartland. Steve, you're familiar with it, I've been here before.
Yep.
I haven't been here last year, couldn't come because of COVID. So when we talk about Heartland, we throw around a lot of acronyms, and I think it's hard for people to think, who are you talking about now? And Mark, you've had 2 meetings, so you kind of see we throw a lot of stuff at you. So I thought I would just kind of give you a cheat sheet here, so you can understand when we talk about different people, who does what. And I started out there, I promise you I'm not going to read this whole thing. It does take a village. It takes quite a few people to make Heartland run for you folks. So let's go back through the history a little bit. Formed in 1987, Mitchell County was one of the original members. So 8 members got together July 1st of 1987. 2 more were then added July 1st of 1988. So the 10 of you have been together since January 1 of 1988. The pool is run by your board, so you are one of 10 owners of Heartland. You don't just purchase your insurance through there, you own it. And you send your representative, Mark, to the meetings, and then, I keep up with him on other things that are going on between meetings. So, as an owner, you get to make decisions. In January, we talked about premium credits, we went through the health of our financials, we get audited every year, we have an actuary work on it every year. And because of the health of financials, we were able to award another $350,000 in premium credits. That gets spread out among the members based upon what you've paid in and the losses you've had since 1987. So that's, we've been doing that for the last 9 to 10 years. So that's money that's coming back to you. So as we go through the folks that work with Heartland, again, my company is Risk Management Solutions of Iowa. I've been working with Heartland for over 20 years. In 2006, I started my own company, left Gallagher, and Heartland decided they wanted to contract with me directly to handle your day-to-day administration. So I kind of describe myself as the mothership. What I try to do for your folks in all of the counties is, if you have questions, call me first. Because I can either give you the answer, or if I can't give you the answer, I will get it for you or find out who you can talk to. That way you and your staff are limited. You don't have to feel like you have to call 3 or 4 people to find out what you need. So I oversee all of the vendors, whether it's legal, claims, brokerage, loss control. That's what the board charges me to do. Again, I'm not your employee, I'm your consultant, so you don't have the risk that you would have if you had an employee with Heartland. Our next group is Arthur J. Gallagher. We call them Gallagher for short. Some people call them AJG. Those folks do the brokerage and do the loss control. Now, unfortunately, our loss control person that we had worked with for, I want to say 10 to 15 years passed away in the last couple of months. So we did meet our new loss control people at the meeting on Thursday. We were going to start training again in person, that because of COVID, they kind of called that off. But this team is going to give you some options of doing some virtual training, doing some in-person training, working with your safety coordinators. They're really excited to get going, and I think you heard that at the meeting, Mark, that they're really anxious to get going with you. And then Gallagher as the broker, they broker, so Heartland is self-insured to a certain point. We self-insure to $400,000 for all your liability claims. Right now, we self-insure on property to $100,000. That will change because of our loss history. And then we self-insure up to $1 million on our work comp claims. So that means then we purchase reinsurance over the top of that. So Gallagher brokers that for us. They also do some contract reading for us. They talk about indemnity agreements, that kind of thing. They like to come in and tell you that they've been involved with Heartland since the very first. That's like if someone comes in and says, yep, I've been married for 50 years. And they neglect to tell you they've had 3 different wives. So in Gallagher's case, yes, they kept buying the company up that was working with Heartland until they became Gallagher. So in some essence, yes, they've worked with them since 1987, but under some different names. CRS are the folks that pay the claims. Judy Hamaker does our workers' compensation claims. Awesome lady. She works great with our employees, takes good care of them. And then we have a team of people that pay the property and liability claims. Insurance carriers, Genesis is our largest one. They're the insurance carrier for our reinsurance for liability and property. We've worked with them since the early 90s. Again, it's been a tough 10 years for us for property. A lot of hail, windstorms, and a few fires. And then the derecho last year, you were fortunate it didn't hit you, but we had 4 counties plus a special acceptance that were hit. So we're expecting a large increase there, but we've budgeted for that. That increase doesn't get passed on to you as the counties. Your rates haven't changed for years, and in fact, because of your premium credits, your rates are steadily going down when you net the premium credits against it. But we had some forewarning, and when we worked on the budget in January, we were able to budget for those increases, and none of it gets passed down to you as the counties. Legal, Carl Salmons is our legal beagle. He's probably one of the best public entity attorneys in the state. He's worked with Heartland since the early 1990s. He works on, we get an issue, we get an incident that we're concerned about, we let him know right away so that he can look at whatever amenities there might be for us there. And then he works with litigation with a gentleman named Kent Gummert from another firm. And then we use also Shulworth and Ingersoll that are in Cedar Rapids for our HR questions. So they do the legal. Accounting Management Services is run by Ronnie Meyer. I don't think she has met probably any of the Heartland trustees because she's been around for so long, but she just kind of works in the background. She does all of our accounting and our bookkeeping. So when we talk about our control issues, making sure that we've got internal controls that work, I do all of the calculations for the rates and I do all the invoicing for my office. Sue Brown, who is the trustee from Haskell County, is also the treasurer. So she takes in all the cash, then she gets it deposited, then it all gets reported to Ronnie, our bookkeeper. So we've got those internal controls that she does the check reconciliation, but the person who brings in the cash doesn't do that. So we've got that taken care of. And as we talked about in the meeting the other day, we had a couple of issues with a couple of checks at CRS, and Ronnie, the bookkeeper, caught it immediately. So I called the auditor, I said, I want you to know what happened. When you go ahead and audit CRS this summer, kind of look for these things. And his first words were, congratulations, your internal controls worked the way they're supposed to. So nobody sees her very often, but she does a really important job. And then Connor Ash is our auditor. We've been working with them for about 15 years. We go through a full-scale audit in July and August, just like you do. It's always our goal to have that done by October so we can get that approved by the board. And then we have an actuarial firm that comes in and goes through all of our claim statistics once a year and provides us with the actuarial review. So keep in mind, as a protection for you, we start out, again, the pool is self-insuring that first $400,000 layer if it's a liability claim. So that money gets put away when that claim comes in, then it gets reserved for, that money gets put away to pay for that claim. Then we also have a thing we call the IBNR, the incurred but not reported, and that's the actuarial estimate of what's out there we don't know about based upon our past history. So that chunk of money gets put away, gets taken care of. And then another layer again is the reinsurers. And then another layer is our surplus. That's the money that you all have that are invested in the banks in the 10 counties that is there as a surplus. And right now, we're a little bit over $7 million. Your money, that's Heartland's money. And Heartland tries very hard to make sure it gets spread among the counties. It's sometimes hard to get banks to take public money because of all the sinking fund and all the responsibilities that they have, but we try very hard. So I think there's about $300,000 in Mitchell County. And again, if we can get banks to take it, then there would be more money. So it just depends on the banks in your county and who's taking public money at that time. Any questions over that? It's kind of a quick way to run you through Heartland. I know you had some questions. You were talking to EMC, I believe. You are in the middle of a 5-year agreement, and you want to do that. As members, you want to protect yourself from Hardin County leaving, and Hardin County wants to protect itself from Benton County leaving, so that's why you get in your 5-year agreements. So as a reminder, you are an owner. If for some reason you weren't happy with service, let us know. We'll get it fixed. If I'm not taking care of you, I want to know because I want to fix it. If we've got an issue with CRS, I want to know. I want to fix it so your folks aren't taking a lot of time working on that. But leaving in that 5-year agreement financially is challenging for you because you leave a portion of your surplus behind, plus you have to keep funding your claims that could change after you leave the program. So I just caution you, if you're thinking that, I don't know if Heartland is the place for us, let me know and I'll walk you through that process. But you've been together since 1987. You've been a very loyal group as you work together. You've had people from this county that have been really proponents of Heartland and worked really hard to get the pool together. So, questions about that?
I have one. Like in this 5-year agreement, the premiums would probably stay the same or be lower is what you're indicating?
You know, we have not changed the premiums. I'm gonna say it's been 14 years since your actual premiums changed. And keep in mind, your premiums are based on your exposure. So as your payroll goes up, your premium can go up. And that's a bad example because for workers' compensation, we use the state rates, so we get those rates. All the other rates are created by Heartland. And so, but you've seen your net rates go down because of the premium credit. So the first year we entered in the premium credit again, which was like 9 years ago, the pool issued $1 million back in premium credits divided among just the 10 members. And then it's kind of gone depending on financials. Because we're gonna have a tough property renewal because of all the storms we've had, that's why the board in January decided, you know what, let's go one more year with the $350,000 divided among the group and then see what this renewal does to us. So again, knocking on wood, provided financials stay pretty stable, I expect next year you'll see a larger premium credit. And again, your surplus is based upon what you've paid in since 1987 on the self-insured programs, netting out your claims. Now, at the meeting on Thursday, everybody was kidding Mark because Mitchell County historically always walks away with most of the safety awards. So I think the chairman said, did you bring your trailer, meaning you're gonna take all the safety awards. This year, not quite as many as you'd had in the past. But other than 1 year, several years ago, Mitchell County has always been at the top as far as their experience goes, in good experience. So what that starts with, it starts with your culture. It starts with, most of your claims come from engineering, some from conservation, some from the sheriff. It starts with those folks, either elected officials, or sheriff, and the engineer, working hard on a culture of safety first, safety first, safety first. So those people are to really be congratulated in that. But you are a smaller county, so you haven't paid in as much as maybe a Hardin County or Benton County, because they have a larger payroll base and they have larger programs. Any other questions?
You said to try to keep the money in local banks, so is all the money in banks within those counties, or does some of it go other places also?
No, the only reason why, it's been, I would say like 2 years, and I look it up and it ends up being 5 years, they all run together. A few years ago, the board voted that there was one county, a contiguous county with Van Buren, because we couldn't get anybody to take the money. So for a bank to take public money, there's a whole bunch of things by code they have to be to do in order to take public money, because, you know, we only have coverage up to $250 with the FDIC, and then after that, the sinking fund covers it. So if banks have reached their fill of public money, they won't take any more. And so what the treasurer does too is she'll call around different banks as she has money to invest, to look for where she can spread it around in those 10 counties. So I'm trying to think of the county that's just north of Van Buren, I should know that. Anyway, they are the only county that we could possibly put money in, but we don't have any money there because we want to keep it in 10 counties. So if you have a personal relationship with one of your banks, and all of a sudden they've opened up and can take more public money, we always like to give that throughput to our treasurer, because she'll work really hard to get as much money in each county as she can.
How about, do you have any counties that want to jump aboard? I mean, you got 10, is that kind of where you left it, or leave it, or?
Over the years, we've had 3 or 4 counties where we've kind of dated a little bit. A couple of them, you know, they were checking us out, we were checking them out, and they weren't really too excited about all our loss control. We check everybody's motor vehicle records that drive in the course of their employment. They didn't want to do that. And the board at that time said, well, if they don't match up with us from, you know, a loss control safety standpoint, that's not a good fit. And then we just had a couple other people that just kind of dipped their toe in it. What is challenging for you as the owners, you got together in 1987, and you've seen that surplus ebb and flow over the years. So when I got here in 2001, your surplus was $1.7 million. And that was a tough year. That was the year of 911. All the markets went crazy. We had claims. It was just, that was a tough 3 or 4 years. So we've gone from under $2 million in surplus to over $7 million. Now, is that because of me? No. It's because we've had a board that we've worked with. We've been conservative in how we handle things. And knock on wood, again, we've had some really, really good claims experience. So that whole answer, what the challenge is to bring in County X is, so when you have a claim, there's money to pay it, but it gets kind of checked against your surplus. You bring a county in, and they come in with that first year premium, a couple $100,000, and then they have a big claim 2 months later. Well, they haven't paid enough money to be able to cover that claim. So where does that money come from? It gets split between the 10 counties on how to cover that claim. And so as we've kind of walked through that with the board, again, because we're in a good financial position, which we need to be to make sure that we can pay claims for you for a very long time, bringing other people in that don't have the same safety and loss control thought process is not as attractive as it might have been at one point in time. So it's kind of been a self-preservation of, do you want to share your surplus with somebody that just jumped on board when you guys have been working so hard for so long to get it where it is? And I will tell you, I'm not going to go through everything I handed to you. There is and you've seen this, Mark, there's a brochure there we did for a 30-year anniversary that kind of takes you through the history. There's a quick overview. And then we had an article in the ISAC magazine about what is Heartland, which if you take the time at some point to read through those, that will kind of help you understand the thought processes through Heartland. You know, I've watched a lot of representatives come and go, but typically they all have the same thought process. We are an owner of this. We want to make decisions so that this thing keeps going on and on and on. So I get very passionate about Heartland. I take your calls 24/7. I talk to people on the weekends sometimes when we have issues. That's what you pay me to do. So not your employee, but the consultant that helps you do your administration. Any other questions?
I have a question about insuring our county vehicles that I'd like to email you. I'll carbon copy Mark in on it also. You were the point of contact with email? Okay.
Yeah.
And Rachel has your email address, and I can get it from her? Okay, very good.
Yep, I'll be back in the office this afternoon. It takes me, I live in Urbandale. My office, through COVID, as people talk about working from home, my office has been in my house for, I think, 18 of the last 20-some years, so nothing new for me.
Okay.
But yeah, any questions we can get resolved for you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions? Appreciate your time. I know you're busy, so I don't want to take a whole lot of time. If you do have questions, run through the auditor's office. She'll track me down. talk to Lindsay quite often, so we'll take care of it.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, it's nice to see you, and then I'll be back in May, May 6th, that's a Thursday, I believe, is our renewal meeting. That's when the board signs off on the renewal, and typically then I do the Fayette Chickasaw Mitchell run. That it'd be like the second Monday of May, so I'll call you and get on your schedule. And then we just walk through the renewal so you can understand your premium credit, you can understand what happened. One other thing that we do, which is a little bit different than we used to do, used to be when we figure your general liability premium, it's based on your budgeted expenditures. So in January, we would give you an estimate, but then you'd go through your budget and the expenditure would be here, and we thought it would be here. So about 4 years ago, we went to an averaging. So we take the last 6 years of your budgeted expenditures, we throw out the high year, we throw out the low year, average the other 4, then we can do that in January. So when I give you the renewal, really the only one we're questioning would be work comp, because we don't know for sure what your payrolls are gonna be. Otherwise, your renewal, when I deliver on May, should be fairly close to what you two got in January and what you were to budget for. So that's another thing, you have control of that process that you wouldn't have if you were with a regular insurance. There's my commercial. If you have any other questions, let me know. Thank you. It's good to see you. I stuck to the ladies upstairs talking now. So anyway, it's good to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Moving on, approved master matrix score for Iowa Egg Company site. So I think I will let you have the floor.
All right, and if you don't mind, I'll remove my mask just so you can maybe hear me a little better.
Correct.
My name is Kent Kraus, and I'm with Pinnacle in Iowa Falls, Iowa. And we're the consultant that Iowa Egg has contracted with to keep them in compliance with Iowa DNR. Iowa Egg purchased this site. Some of you may recall it used to be called Osage River Egg Company, I believe. Iowa Egg was purchased them in the summer of 2019. And anyway, so we've been doing the manure management plan compliance work since then. What's going on today, we're just trying to update and clean up the permits and the master matrix that were last created in 2012 when they built an additional laying facility, and they built an egg washing facility. And we went through an audit with DNR in early 2020, and it identified some things. One, the buyers didn't realize there was a master matrix in place on this site, so they had some compliance issues they didn't know they had. But one of the bigger ones is the manure out of that facility is now being applied under what's called the Iowa 200A code, which is Iowa Department of Ag, and it's being applied as commercial fertilizer in comparison to a manure management plan. And so as they did that, the concessions that were taken in the master matrix back in 2012 weren't fitting or weren't applicable as they were running that site today. So we worked with DNR. They really didn't have they don't have this happen very often, so they didn't have a very defined process. We've been working with them through the last 6 months to update this master matrix and get it submitted to you. And then this is kind of the final step in it, that you have visibility of it, and that you identify and recognize that it still has a passing master matrix score, and then we file it with DNR, and then we continue to operate under the new master matrix score and concessions if there were any. Physically, there's not anything going on at the site, with the exception of in 2012 they planted 2 rows of conifer trees, which today are 10-12 foot tall, to comply with what then they had as a landscape concession. They agreed to plant trees. So there's 2 fairly good sized rows of conifers going on the north side and west side of the site. Today's landscaping rules require 3 rows of trees. So we'll be planting this spring a row of fast growing, whether they be a willow type tree or a poplar, and then we'll also be planting 1 row of hedge. in conjunction with the 2 existing rows of conifers out there. But that's the only physical change actually going on out at the site. But here to answer any other questions you have. I can go through the master matrix scoring if you want to hear it, but I know you're a little short on time today, so I'll just answer any questions you may have beyond that.
I guess I didn't have any questions.
So
Todd, did you want to add anything to this?
I did a pretty thorough job, I believe, for my first time and really not knowing what I was doing, but I did quite a bit, and like your measurements and stuff, it's been a long time since I've been in school, but I did a lot of that, and it looks good. The trees, I did have a question on that. That's very well answered, thank you. I did see on page 8, applying for a construction manure management plan. Are they actually getting charged again for that kind of stuff, or was that just reading, am I reading something that was in the initial?
Annually, the site owners would actually be paying a fee to the state of Iowa. There's, in this one, it's in here, but there would be a manure management plan filing fee, and then there's what's called a manure storage indemnity fee. The manure storage indemnity fee is based on size, and it's a general fund that's there if anybody would ever walk away from their site and leave it full of manure. Now, the reality of it today, if you don't lock your gates, somebody will come in and steal that manure because it's worth good money. So the general fund for cleanup of manure is, I don't believe it's ever been used, just because of the value of the manure that's ended up in all of these facilities, whether it be chicken, beef, or swine. But you know, there is an annual fee that they're paying to the state of Iowa every year. So this is what the manure plan looks like for that site. And so what we do is just try to keep the paperwork in order for both the DNR and EPA. But yeah, the state of Iowa does charge in each site owner, again, whether it be poultry, beef, or swine, over that size threshold that requires a manure plan every year for that filing. Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if that was a yearly thing or just.
It is. In fact, the tab here for annual manure plan, I don't know if I got it. This one doesn't have the fee sheet in it, but yeah, there is an annual filing fee.
Okay. And if there isn't any questions, I did go through and added all the numbers up, and it was, I believe, 445 and above what it should be, so I say it's a good, it's a go, so I don't know if we have to, yeah, we do approve that as a board, so. Okay.
So you are in total agreement that it is a good,
Yep.
okay?
Do you have a problem getting rid of the manure, or is there a pretty good demand for that?
Really good demand for that. As poultry has an advantage even over the swine guys, especially because it's a drier product. So you aren't paying to freight water. This will be 50% moisture content as opposed to 95% water. So yeah, real high in phosphorus and potash. So again, it's a low application rate on a per acre basis, and there is some nitrogen in it, but it's big values on the phosphorus and potash part of it. Yeah.
All right, I guess move forward on this. What we need to do then is to approve the master matrix score for the Iowa Egg Company. And this will be a roll call. Those in favor say aye, those opposed say nay. Anyways, Todd? That's right. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of the game here. Anyways,
I'm not sure, being when I looked at it, Rachel, I'm not sure if I could make the motion.
I think you could be.
I'll move to make that motion that we accept the master matrix score for the.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moving on, this will be a roll call. Those for say aye, and those opposed say nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike? Aye. Smollett, aye. So, Kent,
Thank you, folks.
your resolution has been approved. Thank you.
Yep.
I am keeping your phone number too.
Yeah, no, that's great. We're, again, I always, if I'm not talking, I'm answering it. So, Rachel, I am gonna drop off an update on some of the contact info that was in the master matrix supporting documents. We reviewed that again yesterday and update a couple of those phone numbers. So,
Sounds good.
you'll have an update on it.
Okay.
The manure plans are really a living document. They're, as things change daily, we try to keep up with that and get them changed daily, and then we submit a once-a-year submission into DNR is what we do. And then we're subject for on-site audits with DNR. It averages about once every 5 years they come in and go through the entire plan to make sure that everything's in order. So, but yeah, feel free to call anytime. So,
Okay, thank you.
you bet. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Moving forward, discuss and approve waiving taxes on Joseph Lassard Court. And I guess I just as well read the letter here, shouldn't I, Rachel?
Yep.
Dear Mitchell County Board of Supervisors, it's recently discovered that property taxes have been assessed and paid since 2000 by Osage Development Corporation for Joseph Lassard Court, which is the street in Northwest Industrial Park, 2nd Division. It is unclear why the street, which was dedicated for public use in the language of the dedication of the plat document, was not converted to public property. And that means it's not subject to a property tax. From private ownership in 1999, the ownership change was made several months ago. We are now asking that the property taxes due in the current fiscal year and subsequent years be waived. This is Steve Cooper, the mayor of Osage. So basically what we're doing is taking the taxation that's been being taxed on a street. Any questions, comments?
Rachel, we approve this and then you just make the change in the books up in the auditor's office, right? And that's a done deal? Okay.
They won't come back on us on the past taxes, correct?
Those have not those have been paid.
So I had.
Well, if everybody is in agreement on waiving these taxes, I would imagine we probably have to have a resolution then for that.
Yeah, I can probably get a resolution put together.
I would assume that's what they're asking us to do.
Yep.
And we should be, being that it's approved the waiving of taxes, we should be able to approve that today, so if we would have motions to that effect, we could get that done and over with.
I'll move to get this taken care of and take it off the
Okay,
tax roll.
Mike has made a motion in waiving the taxes on Joseph Lassard Court. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mark has seconded. We shall have a roll call then. Those in favor, say aye, and those opposed, say nay. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim? Aye. Mike? Aye. Smollett, aye, so that it has been approved that we are for waiving the taxes on the Joseph Lassard Court property, or street now. moving on, I see a dark shadow coming into the room. David, would you like to give us some information on the county maintenance garage?
Well, or I can start, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike?
Well, we've been trying to get other bids on the building, been unsuccessful. For example, Norton Buildings, which they're booked up till December, will not bid on a building now because of increases in lumber. Like framing lumber has went from $300 a thousand to $1,100 a thousand. So they're not gonna bid nothing out 6 months because they don't know the future of material prices, and that's kinda it with everybody. And everybody's busy, and there's just nobody, so Cleary, and I've talked to other contractors that are busy too, and then they got talking with them. I told them what kind of price we had from Cleary, and they all felt that was a good price, a fair price, you know. They didn't know if they could beat it.
Stick by that.
Well, yeah, so, and Cleary's kinda anxious, right, to get an
Yeah,
answer
he
from
wants,
us.
he wants a yes or no, so we can move on,
Move on,
or,
yeah.
or move out, one or the other.
Kind of talking with a lumberyard, they're kind of thinking this is the new normal is the high material costs. They don't see it going away, so I don't know. So that's what I know about it. So, and talking with the county attorney, Mark Falk, we can only get one bid. We're okay with that. So. Mark's still on there?
Mark must be on there. Do you have a comment, Mark?
Still here.
Yep.
Pat?
Do you have a comment to this?
Yeah, I don't remember who asked me the question.
I did. Mike did.
Okay, yeah, as long as you're under $100,000, you don't have to follow the public open bidding law, so you don't have to put it out for bids. And it sounds like Mike said he talked to some other contractors, he's related to some of them, and said, okay, we want to build this, and this is what our bid is. And he said, yeah, that certainly sounds like it's in the ballpark for that building. So, you can approve it. You don't have, if you want to go forward, you can make a motion, have your vote, and approve it today if you want to.
But this building will be over 100,000, correct?
No.
It is under 100,000. So we'll proceed with doing updates in the future into this building.
But I think he wants to have an official proposal done for you guys to vote on. I think that, I don't wanna
Yeah, the cost of
get the
this
cart ahead of
was
the horse here.
$85,600.
Because this was nothing official, this thing that he sent me. It was just something to get us an idea where we're at.
Oh, so that wasn't an actual bid?
Well, I don't think he's bound to that.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
And I wish he could have been online today. He could have answered the question right now, but he couldn't. So our next step is to sit down with him again and get something.
Get a concrete number?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought that was his number.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't want to say that,
Yeah,
not
I know,
knowing for
we
sure.
learned, yeah.
So then, is this a consensus? Do we have to do a
Move on with
consensus
this guy.
to move on, or do we have to have a resolution?
Well,
We
in
should
the
get a,
beginning, it was kind of just a shell, right? That was the plan. Is that still the plan, or is there more that you want to add from the get-go?
Well, that's my concern here is, I think our top limit is a little higher than 100,000, isn't it? Or are we still locked in at that 100,000? But,
It kind of depends if we're building as we go, if we're just gonna put a building up to initially to then to.
that's our question.
Yeah.
What are we agreeing to here? And
I think initially the building was 85,000, if I remember right, and that's just pretty much putting up a shell, which I don't have a problem with. And then ongoing, we'll have to do things to it if we're going to do that.
yeah, I mean, we'll have to get it wired, but who knows, I mean, everybody's busy, I don't know when that would happen, it might not happen, next year. I don't know.
With the shell,
With the shell.
we would have to figure out the plumbing, the one thing, because that's something that's, if you're gonna
consensus, yes. Is that what we were asking here, or do you want?
Yeah, as long as you guys, you know, the local guys are out of it, we know that now. And this guy wants to meet with us.
Okay,
I think we should meet with him and
Yeah.
get a concrete number, what
I'd
this
say,
is gonna cost.
I'd say move
And
on.
you're okay with Mike and I?
yeah, I'm for moving on.
And I think we should get, you guys do that, we need to get, at least get electrical and a box installed, so we have
Yes.
power.
Yeah,
And find out where I think somebody told me the sewer runs on, in the street to the south, right?
yeah, there's an abandoned house there, and there's a sewer line buried
Yeah,
under there
it's-
somewhere.
It's doable.
It's
And then
doable.
with my past, with our building, they wanted the shell up even before they did our floor. So we can always go in and do the floor, concrete, depending on how much we want, but, a personal thing, let's get rolling on it. It's time to, I think, get
Yeah.
some of our area, cars and trailers and stuff under a roof. I think it's been long enough, so let's get with those guys and shoot us a bid. Hopefully he'll say, let's, 85, well, that's what I quoted you, so let's put it up, so. And then maybe can you do that in a week?
I believe so.
Are you guys okay with them bringing it back in a week, or?
I'd say that's, if you're asking for consensus, it looks like it's an all go.
So you get a hold of him then, Dave?
I will. Well, I'll get
Let me know.
some times when you're available.
Yep. I can be available whenever.
Okay. I know Jerry Conley, his only request was he wanted to know for sure when it was gonna happen. They gotta have a zoning change, and he said that's just a formality. It'll happen. But he just needs to know when we're doing it.
That's for the city.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mark, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Who actually owns that land? Is the city, does the county, do we own it, or how does that work?
Well, I thought.
I'm certainly assuming the county owns, but off the
Yes.
top of my head, I don't know.
Okay,
It
just
is
so
the
you don't
county.
put a building up and all of a sudden the city, 'cause I'm not sure how that works in town, if we own that whole partial block, but,
Under my understanding is that the county bought the house and took it down. They wanted that lot.
okay. That's good, I'm okay with that.
Is there anything else left then, David?
I believe so.
All right,
Hopefully we'll have something next week.
yep, come back with some information. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Meetings attended. Who would like to go first?
I didn't have any meetings, I'm just gonna say that I'm working on the county home thing and, meet the asbestos people this week. He didn't reply to me, but I think that's gonna happen. Saw a contractor this morning to, dig a hole and push it in a hole, see what he would charge for that, get some prices that way.
We want to keep the cornerstone, because we want to put the cornerstone. up.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that.
And there, I think, is a capsule in there, we're hoping. to.
Okay. And then, talked with the city in regards to burning the roof off of it, and, he was gonna look at that. So they can only do 2 shingle burns a year, and we're the first one that has asked. He hasn't got back with me yet, but, so really no meetings attended, but just want you to know that stuff is moving on that.
Thank you, Jim. Mike?
Oh, I have a substance abuse coalition board meeting, going over the treasurer's report and stuff like that. They would like to have more members, they had more in the past. Some people dropped out, like, I guess the police department used to be on there, but they didn't feel it was beneficial to them, I guess, so they're trying to get more members, and they've checked with some cities still have a ordinance of people can buy tobacco at 18 years of age, and has since changed to 21, and they're getting hold of cities in Mitchell County to change their ordinances, and they've been doing the Prime for Life in schools. They did April 6th to 11th in Osage, South Graceville. They're gonna order some more workbooks for Prime for Life to get out to the rest of the schools. And they're gonna have some ads on the theater uptown here when it reopens about their programs. It's kind of been at a wayside with COVID, but. So that's all I have, was that one.
Okay, I never had a meeting this week, Mark.
Had two county social service meeting, and then I had one with Heartland Insurance, and I can't say much more than Judy already said. They've got this plaque for a 5-year accident free for the whole county, every department. I was gonna put it above my bed, but it wasn't a very good idea, so I guess I'll put it back there with the rest of them.
Right.
That's all
Todd?
No, I had none.
Okay. Moving on, manure management plan updates.
All right, we have borderline building, Russell Row, southwest site, 3327 500th Street in Raceville. Mark Tice Finisher, 62845 on 2921 350th Street, Osage. Another borderline buildings, northeast site, 5059 Addison Avenue in Raceville. In Sunner, and that is 3107 460th Street in McIntyre.
Okay, thank you. We're down to the public comments. Do we have any public comments?